we join the President in congratulating the people of India for voting peacefully, and they voted to punish poor performers, and they voted to reward good work. Because a lot of the states where good work has been done, those states have been really well rewarded, be it Tamil Nadu, be it Odisha, be it Bengal, and other states too. Sir, we join the President in celebrating this wondrous democracy, where each of those 543 members who've been elected to the Lok Sabha, each one of them is a beautiful story. I don't have the time to tell you all the stories, but one story bears special mention of a region where starvation deaths were in order till 8 to 10 years ago. And now, with those starvation deaths, people in that area ate ant eggs because they didn't have anything else to eat. And today that region, Jungle Mahal, is represented by a 28-year-old doctor, the first woman to come to this house, to the Lok Sabha, and take her oath in Alchiki, in Santali. Sir, this is our wondrous democracy. Let us celebrate it. Sir, my party, the Trinamool Congress, would also like to place on record the people who do all the hard work, but they often get unnoticed. The Election Commission of India. They've conducted this election in the best way possible. We won't get into percentages today, but in all the happiness of the new government, someone has mentioned this before, the overall vote share was 30%. So that's a humble pill which will perhaps temper this mandate. Sir, everyone makes election promises. Those who were in opposition last time are in government this time, and vice versa. One promise they make every time is women's reservation. All talk, no go. The last time's opposition and this time's government, between them and all the major parties, the number of women they've brought to parliament, in spite of promising 33 and 1/3, is between 8% to 13%. That's the average. The All India average is 11%. Sir, we at the Trinamool Congress are indeed proud that out of our 34 members of parliament, 11, we've already done women's reservation. 33% of women from Trinamool Congress are already in parliament. So if anyone tries to sneakily take credit for giving women's reservation, you may all want to share the credit now, but please remember, you all have talked, we have done. So, what will be our role for the next few years? We will watch. We will play the role of a constructive opposition. We will support good initiatives, and we will oppose them when necessary. Sir, we believe all these new programs which will be announced, may be announced, need to be put through what we call the three-way test. The first test is, how will you implement your programs to touch the poorest of the poor? That's our first test. The second test, how will you pursue unity and diversity and secure the safety of minorities, women, SC, ST, and all minorities? This is the second test where we will subject all your programs. And the third one, how will you deliver economic stability? Sir, one could have been tempted to talk about in the next few minutes, because we have two speakers from our party, so I'll just take the first half, to talk about all the things you didn't say or you missed out, the government missed out in the President's address. We will not fall into that trap. We will give you the benefit of the doubt, and we will say that maybe you'll bring all this up in the part A of the budget speech, which seems a logical thing to do. Otherwise, very often the president's address and the budget speech become photocopies of the same thing. So we will wait for the budget speech, especially the part A of the budget speech, and we will restrict our response to 8 or 10 points, specific, constructive suggestions on the address itself. And coming from a party which has just come with the blessings of the people, I'm sure you will listen to us with some attention. So and specifically, sir, we start with para number 9, where you talk about rural infrastructure. Our specific suggestion from the Trinamool Congress is we urge you to set up the rural infrastructure mission. Since the party in power loves catchy acronyms and that kind of thing, this will also pass your acronym test. That also sounds nice. RIM sounds quite nice, but more seriously, rural infrastructure mission with 2 broad objectives. First, to build bridges, and second, to build pakka roads in rural areas. These 2 objectives, to be pakka roads in rural areas. So, paragraph 8, food inflation. Lots of speakers before me have spoken about this. Sir, in West Bengal, we are providing to tribals 2 kg rice. Our suggestion, sir, is that this is a good scheme for tribals. Satishji also spoke about forest areas of tribals, but on the specific scheme, can this 2 kg rice for tribals be passed on to the rest of the country? Sir, our third suggestion, which is in paragraph 10, agriculture. Agriculture engages 50% of our workforce, offers livelihood to 75% of our people, consumes 80% of our water, 25% of our power, and must be 70% of our subsidies. For agriculture, we have 2 specific suggestions. The first, the minimum support price for agricultural products and the loan waiver to poor farmers, the operative word being poor. West Bengal, in fact, has a land, agriculture and industrial policy, and more interestingly, we have a land policy which was implemented about 18 months ago, and we'd urge you to take a very close look at that. Paragraph 11, we couldn't agree with you more. Each drop of water is precious. In the Trinamool manifesto 3 years ago, we made a promise to have 55,000 water bodies. In 3 years, 55,000 is not the number. It has become 106,000. The bureaucrats perhaps went and counted the numbers. My colleague Mithunda, who also you were not the only person taking helicopter rides. Mithunda also went for a few helicopter rides over Bengal and saw lots of water. So 105,000. The program there is called Pani Dharo, Pani Bharo. In fact, the basic concept what we are suggesting is that there are lots of state governments who first thought out, then tested out programs. Those programs have been tested in a small scale before they've been rolled out on a large scale. Our observation is that's the way to do it. I want to give you another example which will be related to paragraph 19, which is the girl child and women. Sir, there are so many issues. In fact, sadly, 7 lakh girls are killed every year before they are born. 7 lakh. It's not a coincidence, and very sad that we're happy that the Prime Minister has chosen Bhutan to be his first neighborhood destination. But it's a sad irony that the population of Bhutan, which is 7 lakh, is equal to the number of female girl child killed before they are born in India. Sir, we want to bring to your notice, through you, sir, to this new government, a scheme which was called Kanyashri. Now, how does this work? The problem here was that a lot of the girls had to stop their education, a social problem. They had to stop their education because they needed to get married very quickly. Kanya Shri is a scheme, started exactly 1 year ago. Here's how it works. The girl's family gets 500 rupees per year from class 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If she wants to continue her studying after class 12, the family gets 25,000 rupees. Two things happen, economic help, and two, the girl gets more educated and the child marriage is also stopped. This Kanya Shri scheme, 13 lakh girls and their families have already registered. By the end of the year, the number will go up to 17 lakh. Sir, this scheme was so useful that the UN have now tied up with the West Bengal government to take this scheme ahead. Sir, being a member from West Bengal, I'm giving you one example from West Bengal, but the thought we're trying to leave you behind, I'm sure my colleague, Dr. Maitriyan is going to speak from Tamil Nadu, I think after this. There'd be such examples from many, many states, which have been tested, tried, and moved on. Another one is medicines, where medicines are sold generic drugs at 67% discount. Real stories, real schemes, implemented, loved by voters, and that's why they're sending us here. We strongly support and approve the decision to bring back black money, 22, but we don't know who wants to take the credit, but let's not forget in all this brouhaha that this is a Supreme Court judgment, and we're happy that you're following the Supreme Court judgment. But whatever it is, it's a step in the right direction. I don't share the cynicism of not anything happening in the next 5 years. We're optimists. Sir, in paragraph 24, you all have mentioned about the comprehensive reform of the judiciary. We at Trinamool Congress want to take it one step further. We believe there is serious corruption in the media. Some of our most brightest men and women, some of the most brightest talent in this country are media professionals. We respect them very, very much. But the media corruption is an issue which needs to be taken up at the earliest, because first we were all concerned about paid news, but after seeing what's happened in the last few months, there's a new form of news which is beyond paid news. This is super paid news. Sir, in paragraph 29, you talk about, quote, set up a task force to review our MSME sector. I know there's been a lot of discussions about this Mirage Gujarat model, so I'm tempted to give you one example. The MSME sector is, I suggest you follow one state where the model was right. Now, the best way to judge MSME, perhaps, is to see how banks are lending to MSME. You get lots of banks want to lend, the percentage of lending goes up, you know things are well. Last year, Karnataka bank lending increased to Karnataka for MSME to 48%. Good. In Gujarat, it was 20-something%. Not bad. In my state, 105%. So maybe we can share with you some ideas as to how to revive the MSME. Thank you, Mithunda, for being the only one who's tapping this desk, but thank you. Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, number 20, paragraph number 20 was music to our ears, and I quote, highest priority will be awarded to bring the eastern region of this country on par with western region in terms of physical and social infrastructure. Very good. Excellent. Look east policy is acceptable, but we will prefer from look east, it becomes act east. Act east is even better because Kolkata is not only the gateway to the northeast, Kolkata is also the gateway to South Asia. And in fact, we are also promoting yoga in Bengal, and the president also through the speech mentioned yoga. So it's a very good system where every morning this government gets up and the sun rises in the east. So it's a very good idea to do some Surya Namaskar every morning before you start your government work. We'll assure you that will bring you lots of good luck. Yeah. Mithunda had written a line for me in Hindi, but I dare not deliver it with him sitting here. He said, Subha Surya pranam karne se din acha jata hai. Okay. Sir, Well, that's the basic concept we're trying to bring about. We are trying to communicate through you, sir, to this government and respond to the President's address, bringing the states on board. If you want an AIIMS in Bengal, yes, give us 100 days, we'll find you a location for a new AIIMS. If you want to talk about the border areas, especially states like ours, which is Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, sensitive areas, talk to us, we'll sort things out. If you're talking about modernizing madrasas, good idea. Don't go carte blanche and then do it. Consult with the states, then do it. Funding for education. You all are talking about IIM and IITs. Very good. Keep counting the IIMs and IITs. Our requirement, we believe, more than IIMs and IITs, with no disrespect to them, more polytechnics needed. If you want to improve telecommunication in rural areas, there again, bring the states on board. E-governance. My colleague who will speak after this will give you all the great things we've done on e-governance. So this is the basic feel we have. As I said, we have restricted our comments to what has appeared in the speech. Sir, the states are not subordinate jurisdictions to the center. They are partners. Treat us as friends, and we will never let you down. Treat us as hostile. Treat us as hostile, and the people will feel let down. In the hope that this new government has learnt from the coercive federalism of its predecessor, all we can say is that since you love all kinds of acronyms, you had one last one which said the 5 T's: tradition, talent, tourism, trade, and technology. Very nice. But also remember, before the T's comes the S, and that is the states. Thank you, sir.